And we walked in, and this is what he said. I said, howdy, my name is Joe. This is my wife, April's son, Nathan. They're Jewish. Nathan just found out he's Jewish. I just found out my wife's Jewish, and I don't know anything about it, and neither do they. None of us know anything about this. And he kind of looked at me like it wasn't his first time hearing this, and he goes, you want me to just explain it all to you? I said, yes, that would be great. Thank you. And he goes, all right, here's the deal. He looked right at me and he said, there is one God and there's nothing wrong with you. He said, you are loved by God exactly as you are, whether you're Jewish or not. You're part of creation and loved by your Creator.
That was Joe Buchanan discussing the song How Many Hours, which Liz Hanlon and I wrote after being inspired by Psalm 62. I'm Shep Rosenman. This is The Rest is Commentary, where we discuss what songs inspired by the Psalms or Tehillim inspire in my guests. Texas-born and river-raised, Joe Buchanan makes country music steeped in Torah and Jewish spirit. After discovering his wife's Jewish heritage, Joe began a journey that led to conversion, healing, and a vibrant new path. Blending classic Texas sound with deep faith, his music tells stories of belonging, struggle, and celebration. He's toured across the U.S., leads residencies for Jewish communities, and hosts a thriving online community known as the Small Town Tribe. Joe continues to open doors through music rooted in tradition and spirit. Joe and I spoke on the heels of the release of his awesome third album, Heaven and Earth. You can find his music wherever you can buy or stream music, or on his website, www.joebuchanan, music.com. Joe and I will be talking about music's power to build community and provide solace during challenging times, the significance of storytelling and songwriting, the role of spirituality and personal beliefs in shaping one's artistic journey, silence, immigration and belonging, the divinity of basic human actions and interactions, and yes, the episode includes 4 songs performed live, 2 from Joe and 2 from me, and we talk about so much more. This episode is going to sound a little bit different than most of our others because Joe was ready to record the episode and I thought we were just going to be schmoozing. There I was with my iPad, my computer being repaired at the same moment by my firm's IT company when Joe asked me to pick a song for him on the spot and to play it. We each ended up sharing a couple of songs, including 2 songs from Joe's new album, Heaven and Earth. Let's listen in. I got one, and I think it's an interesting choice.
Yeah?
For you. I think.
Great. I'm here for it. Now, this is yours. You wrote this.
This is something I wrote. That's correct.
Great.
So, wow, this is awesome. I wasn't expecting this.
Oh. Well, this is fun, right?
For sure. And what a beautiful way to begin a friendship.
Oh, yeah.
This one is based on Psalm 62.
Okay.
She sits on the steps of her small wooden home. 4 kids sleep beneath woolen blankets. 3 weeks since her husband walked down that road to find them all a better home. Off in that faraway land, olive trees and desert sand. How many hours since he walked down that road? How many hours has our heart felt this numb? How many hours since he walked down that road? Will he ever call for them to come? She sits on the steps of her small wooden home on the far bank of the winding Dnieper. Spring rains are here and the road is muddy. So many have traveled this path. Ghosts of countless footsteps, keeping her heart good company. How many hours hours since he walked down that road? How many hours has our heart felt this numb? How many hours since he walked down that road? Will he ever call for them to come? She looks toward the mountains. She looks toward the river. The blue-black water rushing to the sea. She searches for hope while her body shivers. Salvation is an uphill climb. Salvation will come with time. She sits on the steps of her small wooden home. Sun's coming up, time for breakfast. Will today be the day that she gets the word? Time to travel down that path. Carry their home on their backs, climbing uphill all the way. How many hours since he walked down that road? How many hours has our heart felt this numb? How many hours since he walked down that road? Will he ever call for them to come? Will he ever call for them to come? Will he ever call for them to come?
I have questions. Can I ask you questions?
Please.
I'm absolutely going to tell you kind of what I felt and how it went and everything, but I definitely have questions. Number one, who are your influences, Shep?
Do we have 3 hours?
Like if just like a couple, like some of your biggest influences.
I mean, from the early times of listening to music, the first album that I fell in love with music was Sgt. Pepper's. The next one was Songs in the Key of Life. No, it was Signed, Sealed, Delivered, Stevie Wonder. And that was around the same time that the Diaspora Yeshiva band started playing at my high school. So like it's this wild amalgam. From there, I moved to Stevie Ray Vaughan and King Crimson and Freddie King and really all over the place. But in the last 15 years, I've been spending a lot of time with a group of song schoolers that's run by the Planet Bluegrass. I go there every summer that I can. And so people from there have been influencing me a lot. Shanna in a Dress, Amy Speece, Ellis Delaney, Vance Gilbert, Paul Reisler. And so there's like my songwriting is all over the place. It's folky, it's bluesy, it's jazzy, it's progressive rock, and this one I think is one of the more songwritery ones.
I mean, definitely has a very strong kind of songwriter feel to it. I also thought, and I don't know if you're a big fan of him, but there is, and obviously different depending on kind of how you're approaching each tune, but there is a grit and an honesty and a very listen to this kind of quality to the way that you tell the story in that song.
Oh wow.
There's a pacing to it that makes it important. You keep coming back to her and her porch and when will these things happen? And then of course the nice change with the salvation part and it kind of climbs up. It's like, that was so nice, kind of the Kavanagh and the music matching the sort of the Keva, everything. And it very much reminded me of the first time I listened to The Ghost of Tom Joad by Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, wow.
Which just knocked me out of my socks. It was so quiet and so intense at the same time, super honest, and its pacing was like, I always think of like important pacing. It's important enough that we're telling you this in the time that I'm going to tell it to you. And that time is just as important as whatever it is that I'm saying. And I mean, I was hanging on every word. It was great. What a great song.
You're making my day, man.
Well, it felt good, and I appreciated when you were like, "Oh, Psalm 62." I was like, "Okay," so I was ready for that. I love the fact that you built a story around it. I love the fact that you built a story around it. There's a lot of times that somebody will play something for me or hear something, and it's like it's almost just a direct translation or a direct taking of one, and putting a good melody with it that makes sense. I really appreciated the storytelling aspect of this. Very, 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 very thankful you shared that.
Well, so a couple of things.
Yeah.
I spent hours singing Born to Run in Darkness on the Edge of Town in front of the mirror. Because, first of all, I love Springsteen's music, but we share a birthday. So I think I'm the next Bruce Springsteen.
I mean, clearly. Clearly.
But like that, he was a big, I didn't mention him before, but he was a big influence. He's one of the artists that I sat down and learned as a guitar player, note for note. Him, The Police, Mark Knopfler, Adrian Belew. I tried, was not always successful, but that was a big part of the process. And I think there's a crossover between what we do as developing musicians with what, in my opinion, should happen as someone who's spiritual and religious. And that clearly ties to your story in that you have to learn the mechanics.
Right.
You have to understand structures. Even if you can't name the deep structures, you have to understand how they work, and they come out in your voice, and they come out in your playing. And it's only once you've understood those structures that you can start making it your own and telling your story.
That's exactly it, right? We're gonna learn when you first start doing everything, right? We're gonna learn the prayer. We're gonna learn what it means, and then once you have that, you need to figure out what does that mean to you, and where do you see yourself in it, and that will change over time. As a songwriter, what a tremendous challenge! What a beautiful challenge, right? To be able to go, how would I say this based on my experience? How I reflect on it? How do I honor what's there without changing what's there? But also, how do I make it my own? How do I make this my prayer? How do I do that? It's a beautiful challenge. I don't write a ton of prayer melodies. And part of that comes from, as someone who joined the tribe later on, there's a deep sensitivity there that is a little maybe different than like some folks maybe who were born into the home, so to speak. I have that strong idea, that knowledge that I've been welcomed here. These are my people. I've been accepted, but I also didn't grow up in this house. So like I'm trying to be real careful. I don't want to knock any of the nice stuff off the tables, so there's like kind of that fine line to walk. And I'll only approach prayers or psalms or anything like that if I have a strong need to reconnect with that prayer. If it's just become rote for me, then I will stop and go, okay, it's time to write a song around this so that I can kind of reconnect to what it is we're saying. But yeah, I thought that was stunning. I appreciated the drive too in the guitar. When you first started with that, I was like, okay, we're chugging along, which is not always what you expect, like with a song. But I mean, you were just going. But then the words came in, and the intention hit, and I was like, oh heck yeah! Like this is exactly right. It was great, man. This was just as interesting. It stood out to me. There was a need. In the music. There's a need from the ear of the listener between these two figures and this idea of salvation and wanting that, and where is it and when is it coming, and she's just waiting and all this. There's this need. Once you come back to she's sitting on her porch, there's a strong desire for me as a listener to go, okay, now what? Now what? What's the next thing that's going to happen? So you're kind of asking the question in the song that the listener is feeling. They're feeling that question as you're telling the story and bringing it into the story. That's great, man. That was great.
Thank you.
That's great songwriting.
It's one of those things where, so I participate regularly in something called fearless songwriting. I'm a lawyer by day, or by way of making money, but
Great.
I'm up late at night and this is what I do whenever I
Right on.
can. And so this is one that it came out of a prompt. There was a picture of a woman on a porch. And I often start the process by doing a stream of consciousness, and the
Sure.
image evoked in me my family's history, which, the first generation American. My parents were both born in Jerusalem, and my mom's family was there she was the seventh generation there. My dad's was the fifth generation. But before that, the story goes that my great, 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 great grandfather left Stulin in Russia. On my father's side, we come from the Karlin Stulin community. Those are the screamers when they pray, when they daven. And she wasn't sure when he was coming back. So it's essentially my take on her story. But
Right.
there's clearly there's an immigration conversation to be had about what's going on in this country. There's an immigration conversation to be had in Europe. And take it one step farther, there's an immigration conversation to be had about where one starts and one goes. And that's why I was like, oh, this is for you, because it's, for me, evocative of your story. Where did you go? Are
Right.
people still waiting for you to come back? How does that? And if you're comfortable talking about that, I'd appreciate it.
I assume by people wanting me to come back, you mean like previous life before I sort of became Jewish. The interesting thing about choosing to go through the process, one of the many, many interesting things about choosing to go through the process to become Jewish, is that you will quickly find out some things. Your friends, if they're actually your friends, they could not care less. They're just glad that y'all are in the same life. That's a beautiful thing. The family that truly loves you, they couldn't care less. And then you find out the family that doesn't. I'm very close with my wife's side of the family. So that kind of tends to be how I answer that question.
Right.
Did I ever tell you what the rabbi said? Never heard this, or what a rabbi said to me that convinced me to want to do this?
Even if you have, tell it again.
Yeah. So, I found out April was Jewish after we were married 13 years. She thought I knew the whole time, and it's a true story. I won't go into all that. It's pretty wild. But, we both were like, hey, let's just find a rabbi who could maybe tell us what's going on, because she didn't know anything. Her family she was born in a military family, and her tree, like my own, hit by lightning many times and lived all over the place, in Greece and Missouri and here and there and everywhere. And there was no synagogue, no community, no summer camp, no candles on Friday night, no anything. She was Jewish through her mother, through her grandmother, kind of on back this line of Russian Jews. And we were like, well, let's find a rabbi, see if we can get some answers, figure something out. So we found this rabbi close to the house. That's the only reason we went there, is because it was close. And we walked in, and this is what he said. I said, howdy, my name is Joe. This is my wife, April's son, Nathan. They're Jewish. Nathan just found out he's Jewish. I just found out my wife's Jewish, and I don't know anything about it, and neither do they. None of us know anything about this. And he kind of looked at me like it wasn't his first time hearing this, and he goes, you want me to just explain it all to you? I said, yes, that would be great. Thank you. And he goes, all right, here's the deal. He looked right at me and he said, there is one God and there's nothing wrong with you. He said, you are loved by God exactly as you are, whether you're Jewish or not. You're part of creation and loved by your Creator. He said, you do good because it puts good in the world. He goes, it's not for a reward later on or some fear of punishment. He said, the good you see in the world is the reward for doing good. And he said, and as for what happens when you leave this world, we don't know. He said, the soul goes back to God who gave it, whatever that looks like. That's not the important part. He said, this is the important part. This is a gift that you've been given, and you've got to take care of it. Take care of you, take care of those around you, and help take care of the world. That's it. I said, is that all of it? He goes, no, there's a lot more than that. And, it was like, and it was like 30 years of therapy all at once. I'd never had an adult, and I was an adult when I heard this. I'd never had an adult say anything like that to me except for my grandfather when I was like 5 years old.
Do you remember what your grandfather said?
Yeah, well, I remember he called me over to a window and he said, he asked if I believe in God. I said, I do. And he said, what do you know about God? And I'm like, I know God sees me, because my grandmother would always be like, Joe, God knows you didn't go to bed on time, or God knows you didn't finish your dinner. So I was like, God's watching, I guess. And he said, well, you can see the hand of a creator in the way the world is put together. He was like, you can see God in how the world works. There's a design, and you can see God in people.
That's amazing.
Amazingly Jewish idea, right? But like, they weren't Jewish at all. They weren't. I guess they were Christian. My grandparents were, but there wasn't a Bible in the house that I remember, and they certainly didn't go to church that I know of. But my whole experience with exploring religion was from that sort of viewpoint. So because my grandfather said that to me, I remember asking, what does God want from me? And he just said, live a good life. He said, I think that's all God can ask of us, is live a good life. So I went to different houses of worship with that as my understanding of God, which runs counter to a lot of the things you find in a lot of places. So I was kind of that troublemaker kid, that would ask the wrong questions.
I think you were asking the right question.
I was asking absolutely the right questions, just not getting the right people to answer them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I found that rabbi who said what he did, Rabbi Stuart Federer in Houston. And man, I love that man so much. We're very, very close. We've been just great friends all these years. And that was his 1 foot moment, which I didn't think about at the time, but definitely his 1 foot moment. And he crushed it. He did a great job.
For sure.
He crushed it.
And that ties back to what my podcast is called, The Rest is Commentary. It's, like Hillel says, what's it all about? Love thy neighbor as thyself, or do not unto others as you would not want them to do to you. The rest is commentary, but we lose the next piece, which is now go and learn.
Go and learn.
Right? And I think that's what it's all about. And I think that as songwriters, that's what we do. Like your new album, even the songs that aren't obviously Jewish, like More Love Songs. What's that one?
Oh, yeah. A Few More Love Songs.
A Few More Love Songs, right? There's so much Jewish in that, even though it's not clear.
I really appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Yeah.
Do you want to play that?
Sure. Yeah.
Or something else?
I mean, I was going to play Better Angels for you, but I can certainly play a few more
either one songs. Or both.
Well, yeah. Let me see how we can do a few more love songs first here. We need a few more love songs, more dance around the room songs, and more holding on songs, more love songs. Yeah, more love songs. When I look at you, I see every good dream I ever knew. When you reach out your hand to me, the world lights up, as far as I can see. And in everything that I do, I carry with me all of you, and your love, lights the way. Goodness comes from goodness done. You've done more than I've undone, and I thank God for you every day. So I say, we need a few more love songs, more dance around the room songs, more holding on songs, more love songs. Yeah, more love songs. You give morning and more meaning, and I see you disbelieving, but I tell you, love, it's true. I've had good days and great days, and I can't get enough days, and I never had a day like a day when I'm with you. Well, in everything that I do, I carry with me all of you, and your love, lights the way. Goodness come from goodness done. You've done more than I've undone, and I thank God for you every day. Just by listening and loving, and more than a little struggling, we've held on to who we said we'd be. And the years ahead, they will fly by. We'll say, slow down, just slow down. We need a few more love songs, more dance around the room songs, more holding on songs, more love songs, yeah, more love songs.
I love that. Here's my experience of listening to this last album. I'm like, oh my God, this is the best song on the album. Oh my God, this is the best song on the album. Oh my God, that was my experience of listening to this.
Oh, that's kind. Thank you. It's nice to hear.
So I opened this one by saying, it wouldn't be clear that it was Jewish, but like as I listen to it now, like you have a little bit of light, and of course there's I thank God every day. That's Mizmor LaTodah, one of the Psalms, and the notion of dancing comes up over and over in the Psalms again.
And the idea of goodness comes from goodness done. With the little kind of play on long-term relationships, you've done more than I've undone, and
I love that line.
Man.
That's my favorite line. I think I texted that to you when we were DMing about this. But it ties back to what, I forget, what's your Houston rabbi's name?
Oh, Rabbi Stuart Federow.
Stuart Federow. And what was your grandfather's name?
Paul Malone. Paul Malone. I called him Poppy. I had Poppy and Nanny.
Nice. I think the song ties back to all that.
Yeah.
And it ties into this notion that, we say this in Aleinu, right? I think this is our national mission, L'takein olam b'malchut Shaddai, v'chol b'nei basar yikru et shemecha, to repair the world from within God's sovereignty.
Yeah.
And all of humanity will call in your name. And like there's no thou shalt be Jewish in that.
Right.
It's about action.
100%. It's about what are you doing and what do you do? And I love, that L'takein olam b'malchut Shaddai is, you don't hear that a lot in communities when they're doing the Aleinu or when we're in that moment. And I always say that kind of to myself if I'm up there leading a service or a part of it. Yeah.
Have you written a song about that?
Way back in the day, I worked it into a song called Repair, which I couldn't possibly play for you right now, but it's one of the lyrics in there because I was so hit with, I was like, yeah, that's it. I was like really fired up about it. But yeah, it's off the first album.
And where can people find your music?
Oh yeah, you can find it on Spotify or Amazon or Apple Music, any of those places. Our website is joebuchananmusic.com, and you can also find it on there. New album is it's called Heaven and Earth, and we're super proud of it.
Yeah, as you should be.
Thanks, man.
Are you coming to LA anytime soon?
Yeah, definitely coming back. I've got a lot of people reaching out about LA stuff, so it's definitely in 2026. I was in Tarzana not too long ago, in San Pedro not too long ago, so definitely coming back in 2026 some point. I can't tell you where yet, but I'll be there.
Do you want to close us out with Better Angels?
Sure. Yeah, I would love to. So I've spent a lot of time, and I've been blessed to spend a lot of time in communities over the last handful of years, and I've seen us meet in a lot of places. Do you mind if I set the tune up for you a little bit?
Please.
Okay. So, I've seen us gather in synagogues and backyards and, of course, camps and living rooms and, and side rooms and all kinds of stuff. And I've seen us gather in bars as well. I got invited to lead Shabbat in a bar called, I believe it was called the Rabbit Hole. And it was like a ton of people, a bunch of folks from the Jewish community all came out there. It was a full-on service. I mean, we had a big band and all that, and with the Ruach, and it was wild. Everybody stood up in the middle of the service. We're at the Baruch Hu, and they all faced the right direction. And I was like, we did it. I feel like we've accomplished something here in a bar room where we're doing Shabbat. It was great. Been there for about an hour, and we faced the right direction for the Baruch Hu. It's something else, but
okay, hold on a second. Did it have anything to do with the fact that the Baruch Hu took place at a bar?
I have never thought about that until you said it, but that is about the most perfect thing. That's the best part of that story. But I thought, in Shalom Aleichem, when we're singing that, we're talking about the inviting the angels in to come in and arrive in peace and depart in peace, but we're inviting in the presence of all this divine to come and see what we're doing and to be with us. And I thought, man, if God ever sends God's angels to look for me, I want to be wherever people are at, right? I want to be I want to be right down the street at the local hangout. I want to be wherever people are gathering up. That's where I want to spend my time. So we wrote a song around it, and it's called Better Angels. Well, if the angels, they come looking for me, they can find me here at the end of the street, where the broken-hearted people and the long-day folks meet, and nobody's watching what's on the TV. It's just how's it going, how you doing, and how have you been? Well, it's so darn good to see you again. What's been hard for you? What can I do? And if you just need a little silence, we got that too. Well, now the table's really something to write home about. It's just full of good food, and there's friends all about. Well, and nobody's wearing their Shabbos best. They just got on what they got on when they got dressed. And it's how's it going, how you doing, and how have you been? Well, it's so darn good to see you again. What's been hard for you? What can I do? What can I do? And if you just need a little silence, we got that too. Happiness a fickle feeling, and it comes and it goes. Chasing that's like trying to wrestle shadows. So don't spend all your days just chasing dead ends. Just make kindness your mantle, seek others, my friend. And it's how's it going, how you doing, and how have you been? Well, it's so darn good to see you again. What's been hard for you? What can I do? And if you just need a little silence, we got that too. If the angels, they come looking for me, they can find me here at the end of the street.
I love that.
Oh, thanks.
At the end of the block in our place in Oxnard is a place called the Rudder Room. And my wife and I had very different experiences going there. She just saw the sawdust and smelled the beer. And I saw community, people connecting with each other. I ended up writing a song about it.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. It's late at the bar.
Do you want to play it?
Sure. But first I want to ask you a couple of questions.
Oh, okay.
I was struck by the image of silence. We got that too, because you don't think of that in these public spaces.
Right.
Can you say a little bit more about how you came to that?
Yeah. I was really inspired for that part by the idea that we can spend time with each other and have quiet moments in conversation where we're just nearby. Sometimes without that kind of feeling the need to fill that space, just kind of sitting with somebody.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes you don't have to say a word. It's just like, I'm here and I got you, and it's all right just to be. And I was reminded of, there was this thing that, and not every community does it, but I know at Shar Shalom, when I was going there, and when Rabbi Federer was there, folks would stand for the Amidah, and we would do everything that we were doing around that. And he would say, and now, take, time for your private prayers, either from the Siddur or from your own heart. And whenever you're finished, feel free to sit down. And I was going to come back in with music after that, right, with an Oseh Shalom, but we would just wait for as long as it took, and people would still be standing. A bunch of people usually will sit at the same time, but there's a handful of people still standing, and nobody would when are they going to sit? Everyone just kind of would look at each other and smile and just very quietly take in the space. And you would see people just looking around the room at things maybe they hadn't noticed before. They're studying the Ner Tamid, or they're just kind of smiling at each other and waving across the room. Complete silence while people were in the midst of it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
It didn't take long, but people would just hold that space. And I thought, man, there's got to be room for just quiet being together.
Yeah, I love that. And it brings back the Lataken Olam B'Malchut Shaddai. You're repairing, your people are calling out God's name through supporting each other and letting them be in God's space.
Absolutely.
Not necessarily like a shouting out, it's just a silent hold.
Yeah.
And this connects me to the moment I'm in. My wife's brother, Howard, died last Thursday, so we're in the Shiva period, and it's fascinating to see when there's a need to talk, for me or my wife or my mother-in-law, and when there's just a need for silence, and to see how people engage with that. Some people can't abide by silence, and others are just happy to sit and hold a hand or hold an eye lock.
Yeah.
And these are all expressions of finding that connection and meeting.
Absolutely. I remember we talk about the concept of B'Tselem Elohim a lot. And, when Hurricane Harvey came through Houston, it was very tough for a lot of people to look outside their window and see God, because we pray for shelter and safety and security, and we say we're thankful for all those things, and then to look out the window and the house is just filling with water. And where is it? Where are these things that we're always saying thankful for and that are provided? And it was wild to explore that concept and then realize that you could see people helping people everywhere. Human chains helping to get people out of trapped cars. The next morning, chainsaws down the street, people helping to clear trees, and neighbors just out helping neighbors get things out of their houses. And it was like, it's like Mr. Rogers said, right? You look for the helpers, and you can see God in the goodness of other people. And if we ever struggle when we're just looking at the world and we go, where is God? Look to your fellow human beings that you're sharing a life with. Right there. It's right there in the goodness of other people. And so that was a big inspiration for this tune also, just that comfort there can be in knowing that you're not alone, and that we're sharing a lifetime together.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Oh, thanks.
So should I close out with a slate at the bar?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I would love that. I'd be honored to hear another tune.
All right, sweet.
And then we'll have to get together so I can tell you then what I thought about it and what it made me feel.
Slate at the bar, the one just north of the harbor, where the sea lions bark and the sawdust sleeps on the floor. Locals with margaritas and Mai Tai umbrellas, we're turning sadness into dancing in the garden next to the bar. We are who we are, dancing in the garden next to the bar. We're wearing flip-flops, Hawaiian shirts and tank tops, tan skin, Oxnard sun, scent of beer and peppermint schnapps, alienation and quiet desperation. We're turning sadness into dancing in the garden next to the bar. We are who we are, dancing in the garden next to the bar. Weeping sometimes endures for a night, but joy comes back in the morning light. Everyone's welcome here. Everyone's welcome here. We've all taken root, do-gooder and empty suit. We see each other raise glasses, a silent salute. Our time in this place lifts us up with cheers and with grace. We're turning sadness into dancing in the garden next to the bar. We are who we are, dancing in the garden next to the bar. We are who we are, dancing in the garden next to the bar.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Come on. You have a kind of an easy, natural way about the way that you, the way that you, at least the last two songs that I've heard. And when I say like an easy, natural way, I mean, it's like, it's so comfortable just to be in the song and to enjoy the story. There's a lot of times, I think a lot of times, sometimes you hear something that like, it makes you work sometimes to sort of enjoy it. You're having to do a lot of thinking, you're having to do a lot of this, and all of those, all the cleverness is in there in the song, but there's sort of an invitation that is very easy to be part of. And it's all the complexity and all the cleverness and all the beautiful lyrics, it's all in there, but it's comfortable to be there, and which makes more room to enjoy it. You have a great way about the way that you approach songwriting. It's just beautiful.
Well, thank you, Joe. This was really great, and I look forward to continuing the conversation.
Me too. I look forward to it. Thanks a bunch for your time. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for listening. Special thanks to Joe Buchanan for joining me, to Liz Hanlon for co-writing both How Many Hours and It's Late at the Bar with me, to Devin Schwartz for his help in producing this episode, especially on a rush basis, to E. Rose for his help producing this episode, and to Jessica Hanna Sweedler for her help on social media, to Liat Silvera for designing the podcast logo, and to my wife Shari, who gives me the time, space, and support to make the music and this podcast happen. I haven't recorded How Many Hours yet, but you can find It's Late at the Bar and all of the other songs in this song cycle on most platforms that stream or download music, including Spotify and Apple. How Many Hours will make its way onto those platforms at some point as well. In the meantime, definitely check out Joe's music while you're there or anywhere else you listen to music. You can also find a discussion with Rav Hanan Schlesinger about It's Late at the Bar in episode 14 of this podcast. In the next episode of The Rest is Commentary, I'll be talking with Rabbi Bradley Shavit Artson. We discuss the difference between being reflective and being judgmental, dealing with judgmental people, strategies for not being judgmental, being kind to yourself, beauty in the mundane, where creativity comes from, strategies to add juice to your creativity, honoring family heritage and tradition, and so much more, all inspired by Rabbi Artson's thoughts after listening to Holy Hands, which is inspired by Psalm 134. Please join us.